Hi, everybody. Well, General Hospital is celebrating their 15,000th episode milestone this week, and I have a few of the cast members with us to talk about, their time with the show. And here we go. Finola Hughes, who I've loved for so many years, as Anna Devane is with us. Marcus Coloma, who this is the first time we have chatted, who joined the show, I believe, in 2019 as Nikolas Cassadine. And we may have a guest appearance from Josh Swickard, who is in Disneyland right now. So hopefully he will.
Losing his mind, obviously.
Losing his mind. But guys, can you believe 15,000th episode and you're part of the legacy of the show? And I'll start with Finola. I believe this is 37 years you've been on the show, 1985.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I arrived, and then I've been on and off. I went off and did some stuff.
Finola, what do you remember about landing the role of Anna? Like, take us back to what was it like when you had the role? Was there a process to get the role, or what had happened with that?
I mean, I auditioned for it, and I didn't really know anything about the show at all because I'd never seen it because I came from England. So I had to watch. I watched it, and I was just going to be on as a kind of bad character to split up Emma Sams and Tristan, and they brought me on for 3 months, and then I think it just worked out with me and Tris, and they wrote this whole backstory as to how we'd met, and then asked me to sign a 3-year contract. So that's kind of how it went at the beginning. And I was so excited. And I remember the audition because I borrowed it was in the 80s, obviously, and I borrowed a cobalt blue padded shouldered silk dress from my friend and a pearl necklace from her to go to the audition. So I must have looked like something out of Dynasty, basically.
Absolutely. Everybody did those back then, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And when you got the role, what do you remember when they said you've got the role?
Well, I didn't hear, which is always a bad sign.
Right.
And I was like, oh, maybe nothing's going to happen. So I didn't hear for a while. And I think I called somebody, probably my agent, and like, did anything happen? And then they came through and they were like, yes. And then I just started. It just sort of happened so fast. And then I think me and Gloria we started.
Monty, you want to say
Gloria Monty, who was the executive producer at that time. She was tough as nails. And for some reason, I was used to that kind of old woman because I'd come from a theater background and dancing, and they were all really hard nosed. So I was like, oh, I know how to deal with this woman.
Exactly. Who really changed the show.
Yeah, she was incredible.
She was incredible.
Yeah, she was just she had a real vision and very hands-on, kind of like Frank is hands-on. And she was a real visionary, like about the entire thing. And we used to, Marcus, get this, you'll never believe this, but we used to do an entire dress rehearsal at 1 p.m. So we would do an entire dress rehearsal of the entire show.
Wow.
And we would have notes, and then we would do the proper show around 4:30 in the afternoon.
Love that. It was so different the way the actors got to work the show back then. It was so different. And Marcus, you came on as Nikolas. What do you remember about the process of landing the role of Nikolas? And you were going to be stepping into big shoes. This was a role that Tyler Christopher played and won an Emmy for. And was there any trepidation taking on this role? And what do you remember about going through the process to get the part?
The thing that I to this day absolutely love about General Hospital, maybe it's all of daytime, but it feels there's such a classic old school Hollywood quality to it. So the testing process is very different than most TV shows because you literally go onto the stage, and I got to do a screen test with Maura West and Jeannie Francis, and I'd never done that in 23 years. And I've booked other TV shows where you've tested. It's normally just in a regular room. I had no idea the sides, which is the audition material, were for a character named Ethan, who might have been, the character of Ethan on the show. And I just had no idea it was for the role of Nicholas or Tyler or Christopher, anything like that. And so I just kind of went in it with, I think, just an excitement of stepping into this very unique world that is daytime and has a almost theater quality to it, and a very old school Hollywood, which I totally love and have always loved since I got to Hollywood. And I just really enjoyed that traditional quality of it.
To both of you, when you first started on the show, Finola, was there anybody that, I know Gloria was an intimidating presence at times. Was there any actors who were like, oh my God, like I'm gonna work with them? And like for Marcus, it was Jeannie Francis and Maura West right off the bat. I can't imagine being the person that would step into that. And so I just want to throw that both to you. Well,
I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I didn't know anyone on the show. I didn't, because I came from England. But let me think. I guess John Riley was, he came up to me and he was incredibly welcoming. Everybody was so welcoming. I think that's something interesting about this particular genre of soap opera. Would you say, Marcus, I think you might agree with me, is that there's this real family feeling, and everybody's sort of in it together. And people really support each other. It's a really nice feeling. And John Riley and Tristan, who I was working with mostly at that point. And I just remember realizing I was entering a boys' club, and I really had to pull up my game and match them, because otherwise I would have sunk, because they were so established. So it was a great role for a woman back then to get to play the guy, if you like, and it was a real opportunity. And I think women responded very, very much to that character at that time, because she was a single mother, and she was also in this business of,
she's a super spy or a double agent or super spy. And that was so cool for the audience, who were like, who's this woman? And like, we never had seen something really like the double agent super spy. It wasn't a traditional thing you'd see on a soap, right?
No.
Which was amazing. Marcus, so Jeannie and Maura, what do you remember about meeting them and doing your first scenes with them? And was that easy peasy, or were you like, I'm scared?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so, first of all, not to mention, you said the women love that character. I'll tell you, Finola, I thought you were so hot on General Hospital. And I remember watching it, and every time I would just be like, oh, this girl, she's so classy, but beautiful. And it was very unique. And I thought it was just, I enjoyed the character too. But, Jeannie and Maura, they, like Finola was saying, so warm. And they really, and the characters, which I also didn't know I was going to be Laura's son. And I didn't know what the relationship was to these characters. So that was a little bit intimidating, but they're so incredibly talented and good that the relationship, and something weird happens when somebody says action. It just, like any intimidation, whatever, it goes away, and I'm just in it. And, they're not those people anymore. I think, there were a couple of moments that were really cool, because also Tad and Dixie from All My Children was a huge storyline. My first day of work, I pulled up and I parked next to Michael Knight, who was getting out of his car. And then I found out he's going to be playing my uncle. And that was a really exciting moment. I think the most intimidated I was, which is really funny now, because he's such a funny, warm, incredible guy, but was Sonny. Like, I was really nervous, because with Jeannie and Maura, there was a love immediately off the bat. So, but with Sonny, it was going to be confrontational right off of the bat. And I had also seen that character a lot, and I just didn't know what Maurice was like at all. So that was probably, I think, the one I was the most nervous about.
Gotcha. Finola, you and Kimberly McCullough got to really create this incredible mother-daughter relationship that anybody that watched 15,000 episodes, the fans of the show who have stuck with it for years and episodes, there is that bond of those two characters that they just resonate with every time they see them together or watch a retro clip of the show or see the two of you communicating on social media and all of that. What can you say about remembering, Kimberly coming to the show to play your daughter? And did you ever think it would have this lasting impression in the culture of soaps?
Isn't it incredible? I mean, and that we're still such good friends to this day. And I was amazingly lucky. This little girl came in to audition with Tristan and I, and she was head and shoulders above everybody else. Like she just nailed it. So confident and funny and daring, and just self-assured. And I hadn't really been around a lot of kids. I certainly hadn't worked with them. I came from the ballet world, and we just, it's all adults. But she was so charming, and I felt this real need to protect her. That on set, because it was the 80s and things weren't quite as well constructed as they might be today, and there was a lot of swearing. So she had a little swear jar, which she earned a ton of money. And it was, we were allowed to improvise a lot more, certainly with the child. And it was just one of those magic things. You can't really talk about it too much because it happened and it was magic and it was very specific to that moment. And we were just very lucky people to all be put together like that.
What do you say about, the fact that you've been with the show? I know there were times when you weren't with the show, but through the decades, you've seen all the changes of the show and how daytime hosts tried to survive when everything was being canceled. Was there a time when you were concerned that, when the cancellation of the other shows, All My Children, One Life to Live, that GH, could be the next, or did you always feel that it was the mothership and would?
Yeah. I think I always felt, I don't ever think like that anyway. I never think, oh, we're going to be next. I never do, because I just, it's not really my job in the world to think that. What happens sort of happens.
Right.
So I just never, I didn't really entertain that. And because I think the show is so good that, not that the other shows weren't, certainly. But Johnny, be quiet. Sorry, it's my dog whining. I just think I think it was a real shame that those other shows went down, but I just never felt that was going to be a possibility for General Hospital at all. And it's interesting that you say over the years that you go through things, and there's been different executive producers, and there's different times where if there's a new executive producer comes in and they have different ideas for the character. I just remember with Wes Kenny one time, I went up to him and I went up to his room and I said, you have to save me because it's turning into a boys' club, and you just have to rescue me because I'm losing footing as a woman in this storyline. And he heard me and he was like, oh, you're right. Okay, let's figure that out. And he said, thank you for bringing it to my attention. And he did, more credit to him. He heard me and he figured it out and turned it around. Yeah.
Amazing. Marcus, you were a fan of the show. Did you watch the show?
I had caught it. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just had I would catch certain episodes, Yeah.
But you knew a bit about it, is what I'm saying. You weren't like, I don't
definitely knew a bit about it. I'd auditioned for it before. I think I'd actually possibly even booked a role. I don't know who the role is, but it was before the current producer.
I'm 28.
Sorry. But yeah, I'll say this. This is what was really interesting. And I think this is just an interesting thing in general. But before I got the show, I was like, I would like to book a series regular on, one of the most successful shows. And I was thinking about General Hospital and just the amount that it's been on, how many episodes especially when I heard that number, how many viewers watch every week? And I was like, it's really funny because I think you could say this is the most successful show of all time, I don't know how many shows have lasted longer than this and done as many episodes and had as many viewers. Like I've heard Luke and Laura had 30 million viewers at one point,
Wedding at 31 million.
31 million for their wedding.
That's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you guys not, I know you're always in the process of working and sometimes it's a grind and we're all that when we have jobs and creative people, right? But when you look at 15,000 episodes, you're part of the show. Finola, all the years, 37, I think it is, right on and up, right? And Marcus, Nikolas is such a key character. You know what I mean? When he wasn't on the canvas, people were, what's going, they wanted Nikolas back. So it has to be kind of a pinch yourself thing at some point. Like, isn't this cool? I mean, do you have those moments or are you like,
I think for me, it's this joy of sharing stories with people. And the fact that this show has been managing to do that for so long tells us something that, there's a certain amount that we know what we're doing. But I just love that this genre in particular, you really share with the fans. Like they're diehard fans and they've been watching for so long. We're in their houses 5 days a week. And it's a different kind of relationship. And I just love the fact that we all get to share stories, together, with the audience and all of us at work. It's really a lovely way to spend your life.
It's so true. And yeah, I definitely can say I've been on a lot of different sets and a part of a lot of different projects. And there is something about this show, from the actors, producers, crew, the fans, the audience, like it is a very magical, unique thing. And in that way, I am always pinching myself because I'm like, God, it's so, it's like very homey or cozy or something about, it's very magical. It's a very unique, special thing.
It's definitely family.
Yeah, it's a very family oriented.
Yeah, I think from the outside, people are like, oh my God, all these heavy hitters are working on this show. Do they get along?
I was literally just talking to Nikolas Chavez, who plays Spencer, and we were like, everyone is good on this show. And that's, I mean, how many shows can you say that about? It's incredible.
So is there been a plot point or a moment where it was like, either it was something you were like, I'm not going to be able to play this, or had an issue with that you can talk about? Or
well, you know what it's going to be for me, don't you?
You go ahead.
Come on. I got a script one time, and I was reading it, and I suddenly realized that what was being asked is that an extraterrestrial is coming into my garage, and I have to now deal with an alien from out of space.
Wow.
Oh yes, Casey the alien came. That's right.
And but here's the thing: he was a very handsome 6 foot man, 6'2" probably, and they were and kind of simple about our ways. Like he didn't really understand a lot of our ways, obviously, because he came from Lumiere or Luma or somewhere. Lumina. And sort of takes up residence in my garage, and my daughter finds him. And Casey has to get a crystal or something. I forget the exact. Anyway, I remember going to a friend's house, and I had 2 scripts, which was the beginning of the story, and I threw them on his coffee table, and I'm like, I have no idea how I'm doing this. And then someone said it's Starman, like that's what we're doing, it's Starman. And I was like, okay. So I watched the movie, and there was a great deal of humor. It was Jeff Bridges, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
And it was charming, and I thought, oh, okay, I get it, I can do this. And actually, the story, I ended up getting an Emmy for that story. So it was, it worked out because it was funny, but yet it was very poignant. And yeah.
It ended up being really poignant. And I know, so you never know. Marcus, is there something you're like, how am I going to play this? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I think it happens
every day.
It's happened like 5 times where I was just like, what, but why would somebody do that? Why would somebody do that? Until I realized that I think Nikolas is he self-sabotages like crazy, and he'll want something so badly and then he'll ruin it. But obviously most recently the Esme.
It has to be. I was
just gonna say we have to, let's just bring the elephant in the room.
Because obviously I know what's going on. I know but my character is the only guy in Port Charles that's like, oh, maybe not only that girl and the age difference, but on top of that, my son's girlfriend, all of that was very much like, I don't know.
I literally had to put my hands over.
I was like this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want, because you're like, oh, Nikolas, the character, you're speaking the character, like, please don't be such a dump. Like, you just can't believe he would be that. It's hard to like believe that he would be that. Sweet.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. There's just was that Maurice? Hey, can you keep it down in there? Sorry, that was Maurice. Maurice Benard just anyway, yeah.
Esme.
Let's see if we can get him. Let's just see if we can get him on.
Get him on.
Bring him on.
It's Michael Fairman.
Maurice.
Hey, Maurice.
Maurice, come here.
What's up?
It's Finola.
Michael.
What's happening, man?
Hi.
What are you guys doing?
We're
it's just a big deal. It's just a big deal.
We're celebrating the 50,000th episode.
15,000 episodes.
I never get
big.
to talk to Mike.
You too. So he sleeps with Esme. That was a hard one to figure out.
Yeah, and luckily, here's the thing: Avery and I were both terrified of him. We were both nervous, and we were both like, and I think that helped because we talked about it, and to that degree, it made it somewhat comfortable. But it was definitely a challenging thing. Pretending to stab Spencer, that was a challenging moment because I was like, I don't know why anyone would do that, but anyway, so there's been a lot of it. And what I'm starting to kind of get it because it just stirs up so much fun storyline,
I remember when Ian Buchanan came back to the show and he said to me, the only thing I don't want to have to do is kill Jason. I just don't want to kill Steve Burton. He's
my gosh.
And lo and behold, he shoots him. I mean, and he goes in the drink. And he came in that day and he's like, I'm killing Jason. I was like, no, there's no color.
Yeah, that's not something you want to do.
No, you don't want to be put in that position either. And then you have to deal with, we're in a different time. And this is to Finola as well. Back when you started, we didn't have social media. We didn't have this way of communicating back and forth in this real-time feedback. You guys would get fan mail, right? Or something like that. So how do you see how it's, look at from that to now? How is it, does it affect you as an actress to see what people are saying? Do you like the real-time feedback? Do you kind of?
I think it was bad back then anyway, because like some of the fan mail I would get, certainly when I started, because I split up Emma and I was intrinsic in their breakup. It was hate mail, and that I just used to burn it. But now it's very immediate, the things that people say, and it can be tone deaf. And then the other thing that happens is that they tag you they keep you in a thread that's really rude, and you're like,
right.
Dude, tag me. I don't want to read how you hate me. I just don't. Just tag me. Yeah.
Does that happen to you? You get tagged in. I get tagged in and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not even involved. I don't even know why I'm in this.
No.
I don't know why I don't know if I actually. It stopped at a certain point. It stopped, and I don't know if I actually did something. I don't know how that happened, but I somehow I got around that. And I don't remember how I did it. I think somebody showed me there's something you can do, but I don't remember what that was.
Yeah, I mute anyone that's.
Oh,
rude.
Maybe that's what it. Yeah. That could have been it.
Now, are you both make appearances in the 15,000th episode? I know it's centered around Jeannie.
It's her she gets sort of cornered in the press, I think. And yeah, I'm in it. And Marcus, you're in it?
Yeah. I'm in it too. It was
And
awesome.
Was it awesome? And then afterwards, is that when you guys did the shot of the cake and everybody together?
That's when we were all together. Yes, it was great.
So it's a standalone episode that people will see, and everybody, it's a lot of the cast was in it, right? Even though Laura's really.
Yeah, it's her story. Yeah.
It was a nice touch, you
Oh,
know.
That's so much fun, because if you're not in somebody's storyline, you just don't meet them, you know? So it was cool because I got to meet a lot of people that I've seen on the show, but I've never got to say hi to, you know?
Do you think the fans, without spoiling it, will enjoy it? You know?
Laura's wonderful in it. It's a lovely standalone show. Yeah, Laura's wonderful in it. It's great.
Jeannie?
Yes. Yeah, Jeannie. Sorry, I'm talking the character. Jeannie's wonderful.
Moving on, item 29.
Yes. It's
I was just gonna say, in terms of just quickly touching on, what would you say is coming up? Obviously for you, Marcus, it's more of the drama now that Nikolas has slept with Esme, and we've got Ava and Spencer not knowing. And do you see him just tripping upon this? Like, how's he gonna?
I gotta say, the writing is so good. Like, I think the upcoming 1 to 2 months is gonna be I'm so excited. I'm probably the most excited that I've been, because of the things that are developing and the things that are going to be revealed. And I think it's just going to be really exciting to watch and really fun.
Yeah, I think what they've been doing these last couple of months is setting up a bunch of stories that are going to sort of over the next couple of months kind of build and blow. And blow up. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like those fireworks. You know how they have the finale where there's all these amazing explosions going on. Like, I think a lot of different characters. I'm really interested in a lot of different storylines right now, and what's going to be revealed about them in the next couple of months.
Yeah. We're heading into a really good the summer into fall. Yeah, it's going to be very good.
Yeah.
And you had Patrick Stuart, who was taping his other show. I know he's doing the show.
He's back now. Yeah,
he's back now. And you guys, do you think Valentin where do you think all the story will go at this point with Anna's romantic love life? Because she always seems to get somewhere and then it falls apart.
I don't know why that is. It's certainly not my fault. I'm putting that out there now.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're quite adult about this relationship, and I think that there's an understanding that maybe they're both not perfect, and they're both in a similar business, if you like. And he seems to be holding things back from me. So I don't know how that is going to play out as it moves forward. It's sort of a reverse, if you like, of what was happening with me and Finn. Finn was didn't want to stay with me because I was keeping secrets, if you like, or not including him in certain things. And I think perhaps that might happen going forward with James's character. But then I'm not sure that Anna has the same stipulation about secrets that perhaps Finn does.
And just touching on the 15,000, you had so many, I know Tony Geary and you and Tony had great scenes together. And Jane Elliott, of course, was so great. Can you talk just a little bit about getting to work with them in the history of your career with the show?
Getting to work with Tony was just such a moment for me. I'd always wanted to, and it's interesting. I just worked with Jeannie the other day, and
29.
I talked to her about how when you're working with someone like Jeannie or Tony or Jane, how you can just fall into the scene and know you're going to be caught by the other person. There's just this sort of understanding, and it's really lovely. It's sort of a moment to moment thing, and you guys, they kind of cut from the same cloth, and working with Tony was just a great amount of trust. It was just wonderful. It was just a lovely thing to do. And of course, you know, you have that with other people during the years, Tristan and Ian and James, obviously now Michael Easton for short. There's this trust that you build, and I'm sure Marcus has it with Maura and obviously with Jeannie. And you go into a scene and you just know the other person's going to catch you, and you can really do whatever you want because you know they're listening, and you know they're going to let you have a pause or do. And
standby 31.
It's a great moment when you get to do stuff like that.
I know it's a pedantic question, but Marcus, do you have a favorite scene you've done or story on the show?
I think it's probably the moment when Maura stabbed me and then we had sex. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's so creepy.
Going.
That's so
I don't
creepy.
know why. Maybe because it's so far from anything. There
Normal.
was something about it that I just loved so much and thought these guys are so weird because I think there's so much pain to these guys and their love. And I think they equate pain and love together. And I just thought it was weird and I liked it.
That's weird. All right.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I really liked that scene. I thought it was weirdly romantic and I don't know, it was weird.
And that's why you're playing this role.
I guess so. Yeah.
Finola, do you have an all-time fave? Top 3, top 1, top 2?
I have lots. You know, I think a couple of things that I did with Michael, some of the comedy things we did, and then also the breakup I really enjoyed, even though it's a breakup, but it was really well written. And you know, when the writing, it's just we're so lucky with our writers. We just have cream of the crop, I think, and you just get these wonderful, like Marcus was just saying, sort of twisted moments where it goes back and forth, and they really understand the concept of how incredibly sophisticated sometimes human relationships can be. I think also one of my favorites was back in the 80s when I confessed to something, and it was in the down in the caves underneath Fort Charles, and it was me and John and Tristan, and I was sort of confessing to some of the things that I had been very responsible for. And that was great because that was an insight into my character. And I think that like bringing some of that stuff back is interesting to show that the character, it can be twisted and can also keep secrets and perhaps not live by the rules of society sometimes. Johnny, I mean what?
How old is Johnny?
Johnny is 3.
Oh.
So stupid.
Do you know, Finola, do you think now, having seen, you know, how the show used to rerun and how it is now, was it hard adjustment for yourself or some of the veterans to, when they had to change the pace, you have to shoot so much, you know, it's so different now, you have to just shoot so fast.
Yeah, you just have to be more prepared when you go upstairs, you know, you just have to be more prepared. And just, yeah, I mean, to me, I don't mind it now. I really don't. There's a great deal of adrenaline that goes with it, and it's sort of like a one shot, you know, and so it's sort of like, it's almost a bar that you're sort of, oh, let me see if I can do this. So there's a challenge to it. I don't mind it.
And Marcus, you were speaking to that. You liked kind of like the theater aspect of it, like you're on there, you're doing it, and you don't
love it,
right? As opposed to
my lease. So we shoot like 100 pages a day, and I did this movie where we shot, I think it was 2 pages or something crazy like that, and that is so much harder because you're sitting in a trailer for like 10 hours, and then you go up and like this is just so fun because it feels live. It feels like you're living the scenes. I love it.
Yeah, I like just having the one shot and trying to nail it. It's fun.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I thank you both for taking some time to help us celebrate the 15,000 milestone episode of Unbelievable of General Hospital. And I think it's so cool that you get to be a part of the fabric and history of the show. That's something you'll always have for the rest of your lives. That, you know, you're in a very select company of great actors. You know, you've been with this ensemble, and I can only speak for myself, but, you know, so many of the viewers and fans who love you guys and love watching you and are so impressed. Finola is one of the best ever, I think we can safely say, to
Absolutely.
ever appear on the genre.
Moving on, item 30.
And Marcus, we're so glad to have you too, you know, really taking on this role and making it your own. I think that's what's so special about actors when they come in, getting past the ball, and it's like, what can they do with it to make it their own? Before we go, we were all just so deeply saddened by the loss of Harrison Wagner, Christina Wagner, dear friend of Finola, and of course, cast member of General Hospital and former cast member Jack Wagner. They lost their son in his battle with addiction, and they set up a scholarship to help other young men get help for their addiction that would not otherwise be able to afford it. All funds right now can be donated to the Harrison Wagner Scholarship Fund and will be used directly to help young men pay their rent or a portion of their rent who cannot otherwise afford their care at New Life House. And I'm going to put the link here underneath here in the interview. We send our love and condolences to Jack and Christina. And it was just such a devastating to hear, but hopefully the scholarship fund will help others in need. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
That's beautiful.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right. We'll see each other soon.
Yes.
Thank you guys. This was so fun. Thanks
you.
for having me.
Love
All
you,
right.
see you, Marcus.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Yeah, see you guys.
Bye, Michael.
Well, here's Josh, direct from Disneyland. So Josh Swickard, you are towing the company line today. You're actually
Absolutely. Anything involving Disney, ABC, I try to get it in every day, you know.
So are you there with your kid? What's going on?
I'm with my wife and my baby, yeah. And it's so fun seeing it through her eyes for the first time. So we're loving it.
That's always great, seeing it through a kid's eyes, because we're kind of jaded. But do we ever really get jaded at Disneyland? We kind of, yeah.
I went on It's a Small World for the first time, and I was like, I would do this without a baby. This is phenomenal.
Well, we are celebrating the 15,000th episode milestone of General Hospital, and talking with Finola and talking with Marcus. You came on in 2018, right?
It was, I believe, January 2018.
What do you remember about your audition or the process to get the role? What do you remember about how it unfolded?
It was such a wild experience because I was filming a movie during the test, and I flew in on a red eye and got about maybe 40 minutes of sleep. Wasn't off book yet. Felt wildly unprepared. And I tested with Finola and Steve Burton, and I wasn't familiar with the show. I didn't even know those two legends, and which was like such a gift, because if I knew who they were and the level they were, it would have been game over. And so I auditioned. I thought I did horribly. And afterwards I apologized to Frank, and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry for whatever that was. And I can't even fully remember, but I think it was for a different role. It might've been for the role of Peter. And because I remember not hearing back. And then 3 or 4 months later, I just got a call, and it was like, hey, would you play this cop coming into town? And I was like, I'd love to, you know. And that was it.
Oh my God, it's so funny. We were talking about who, like, was Finola in her, 37 years intimidated by any of the cast members? What was it like for Marcus, who, had Jeannie Francis and Maura West again? So what about you? Once you got to GH, did you feel still intimidated by some of the cast, or were you like, okay, I got this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think my first scenes were with Maurice Benard, and I had done a little bit of research at that point by the time I got to set, where I was like, oh no, these are the big dogs. And but quickly, and I'm so grateful for the kind of culture that Frank has built there. It really is a family. And so probably within 6 months to a year, there wasn't any kind of intimidation. It was just this everyone kind of looking out for each other. And I'd knock on Maurice's door and be like, hey, how do I do this scene, man? And he'd sit down with me, and people really want other people on that show to succeed. And I think it comes across. And so I've been so grateful to not be too intimidated by them, but to see them as family and peers, knowing that they want what's best for me and I want what's best for them. And it's a really healthy environment.
Was there a time with anything you've had in the script, was there anything you were like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, or like we're uncomfortable with it? Because you've had, I mean,
there's been a few things. They tell you in acting school, the first thing you cannot do is judge the character. And sometimes with daytime, you have these wild, dramatic stakes where I'll initially read the script and be like, I can't make this believe, or I'll have this moment where I judge the character. And I remember Laura Wright helping me out with that. And she's like, the second you do that, it's over. And so it's your job, whether it's, an alien storyline, I think Finola's talked about once, or like, or, something that I was doing as Chase, like, it's not your job to be like, is this believable? It's your job to be like, okay, I'm going to make this believable. And the other thing that kind of shut me up was if you Google anything, usually in some city, sometimes Florida, something close to it has happened, and so there's been a few times I'm like, man, I don't know if I can pull this off, but you do your best to commit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And thankfully the audience is pretty forgiving, and they're like, he tried.
Is it hard being like a sexy guy on a show? Like, do you feel like you have to like keep yourself together? Because
well, that's a very big compliment. I don't really see it that way. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm at Disneyland and I just ate a churro and tomorrow I'm shirtless. And so I was like, sometimes I'm like, oh man,
right.
There's some pressure there, I guess. But I don't know. They've brought some other young guys on the show that I'm like, you guys can take that role.
You have such wonderful chemistry with Amanda Setton, Brook Lynn. And I've loved her for many years. We go way back to her time on One Life to Live. How's it working with her in your scenes?
It's amazing. It's amazing. She's such a sweetheart, and she's also just a veteran. I mean, she's done primetime shows, big movies. Like she's been around the block, and so she gets what it is that we're doing, and she does it very well. And she's a family, she's a mother. I mean, there's so many commonalities between us that we have such a great rapport, and we enjoy doing it. And so, yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about Amanda.
Did they tell you at the PCPD that nobody, the cops are pretty dumb?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I've almost solved one case, almost. And but you just you smile at it and be like, that's my role. It's the mobster's role to solve everything.
The mobster solves the crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say though, in terms of being part of the ensemble cast of this show, and the fact that it has to be a pinch yourself moment for you to know that this show's been on 15,000 episodes, 59 years. You're on this show. It is one of the most iconic shows ever on television, and you've got a role on it, and it's still going on. So
I don't think it's fully set in for me. I think there's a little bit of ignorance going on in my brain where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But the level of and the gravity of how neat that is, I don't know if it's fully set in. And so,
are you in Babyland? What's happening there?
I'm legit in the place where everybody nurses their babies. I'm so sorry. Everyone keeps staring at me.
Live from Disneyland. Okay.
Literally. No, it's a great gig. I feel so incredibly blessed to be a part of such a legacy show. Yeah, I mean, that's how I live my life now. I literally wake up smiling, and I feel so happy, and I have good people around me, and you can't ask for any more than that. So I'm smiling from ear to ear every day because of it.
Do you have any favorite scenes with Finola, or did you have any scenes with Marcus, Coloma? Do you have anything that you guys have done?
I don't really work with Marcus much, which sucks because I think he's an awesome actor. He's such a good guy. we have really good conversations off camera. But I would say with Finola, especially at the beginning when I was doing cop stuff, we've had some good stuff. And I mean, I love working with her. Our dressing rooms are one door apart, so I get to talk to her a lot.
So much. She's great. I mean, she's the coolest,
Yeah.
I think, you know. Michael Easton and you play the brothers, and what's it been like to work with him in this journey?
Amazing. He's probably the closest thing I have to a brother on the show. Maybe Chad's like a little brother, even though he's a little older than me. But no, Michael's awesome. We have a lot of the same hobbies and interests in life, and so we always have a good conversation. We carry on pretty well. So yeah, I love Michael.
Now, are you in the 15,000th episode?
It was super cool. I remember it very well. It was so awesome. Every day is a celebration there. That's what it is.
Every day is a celebration. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming through here and
Absolutely. I'm glad to talk to you. I missed you.
I miss you. We wanted to celebrate this with you, and we'll have a longer talk when you're not in the middle of Mickey Mouse's house.
Sounds good.
About a
It was
baby.
so good to see you, Michael.
So good to see you. We'll see you soon. Bye, Josh.
Bye-bye.